So hey guys, thanks for joining me for another video. Welcome to the Random Watch Do channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about the OMEGA Seamaster yet again. There's a reason that I'm going to talk to you about the OMEGA Seamaster, and just as it happens, I've got my Peter Blake, my 2254.5 OMEGA Seamaster on today. This is a very early 2000s model. It's been discontinued for a very long time now. It runs on a much thinner modified ETA movement, so it's got a nice thin profile, as you can see there. It doesn't sit really high on the wrist like a lot of the modern watches do these days, the OMEGA Seamaster being one of them. So yeah guys, a couple of interesting things, a couple of interesting stories that I'd like to tell you about the OMEGA Seamaster in this video today. Okay, so firstly guys, the first little story that I've got for you is the OMEGA Seamaster 60th Anniversary James Bond edition. Now, I'll put some pictures up here. I tried that watch on recently and I absolutely love it. It's a great watch. It's a beautiful watch. The reason I really like that watch in particular is because they've put the old wave dial back on the watch. The old wave dial, which had a very kind of shallow wave. It wasn't like the big undulating wave that you see on the newer models. It was a very shallow wave. There were lots of them. They're nicely densely packed together, and it's just the original kind of wave pattern that came with the original wave pattern Seamaster, which was back in the mid 1990s now, with the 2541.8 and the 2531.8, the quartz and the automatic Pierce Brosnan era, James Bond era Seamasters. So very nice. So on the 60th anniversary, OMEGA have paid attention to the feedback that they've received. Everybody loves that that original wave pattern, and they put that back on the 60th anniversary edition. I tried it on. Now, just to let you into a little secret, I put my name down for that watch when it was first announced, and I think that watch was first announced, a couple of years ago, maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago. And I was told then, when I put my name down for it, that, well, you know, they're in high demand. I don't think I was very politely told it was very unlikely that I'd get a phone call for that watch because it was going to be in high demand and there weren't going to be a lot of them. Fair enough. 18 months later, I've been offered that watch 3 times now. And when I went to my local AD, Partridge Jewellers here in Auckland in New Zealand, I went to my local AD, and lo and behold, when I walked in, they had 2. They had 2 of them, guys. So things change, don't they? Don't times change? That watch has gone from being really hot and highly desirable when it was first announced to and impossible to get hold of course, to hey, we've got a couple in stock, do you want one, kind of thing. Now, of course, I haven't bought one. I just want to be clear about that. I haven't bought one. I tried it on. It's the first time I've tried it on. I really love the watch. I think it's great. I like the hologram on the back. I actually think that hologram on the back could have been quite gimmicky, but it's not. It works really well, especially if you're a James Bond fan, of course. Like the wave pattern on the dial. If I had to nitpick the dial, and I will, I would say that the way the wave pattern intersects the text on the dial is not as nice as the way the wave pattern intersects the text on this watch and the blue version of this watch. And what I mean by that is, on this watch, the text is laid on top of the pattern and the pattern isn't broken, whereas on the newer version, which has got that nice pattern, the text actually has its own kind of area around it where the pattern doesn't go under it. So if you look at it really closely, like us watch nerds do, you will actually notice that the wave pattern doesn't undulate under the text. And I noticed that quite quickly actually when I looked at the watch. There's kind of an area around the text where the pattern doesn't go into. So that was a little nitpick. I wasn't too keen on that, but honestly, you're only really going to see that if you look at the watch very closely, you know, with your reading glasses on. Other than that, it's a nice watch. The deal breaker, the reason I didn't buy that watch, guys, there's 2 reasons I didn't buy that watch, because I could have bought 2 that day. Reason number one is it's too damn expensive. It's 16,000 New Zealand dollars, I think 16,500 New Zealand dollars. Now, just to put that into comparison, you don't have to worry about doing your currency conversion. What I'll say to you now is, if the 60th anniversary Bond Seamaster is $16,500, and the standard Seamaster, which is very, very similar looking with the same movement and the same specs, that watch is $11,000. There's a 40% hike on the special James Bond anniversary. And the other reason so the price I think is way too high for what you get. And the second reason I didn't buy it is the bracelet. It's a very pretty looking bracelet. I think it looks nice. It looks nice on Daniel Craig's wrist. It looked okay on mine. You know, I took a couple of pictures of it on my wrist. I like the bracelet. It's not comfortable, and it's very, very thick around the clasp end. If you look at the clasp on this watch, just as an example, you can see how flush the clasp is with the actual band itself. It is not raised at all. So that's a really good. This is a fantastic clasp, by the way. Fantastic Omega clasp. The clasp on the Milanese bracelet that comes with the 60th anniversary, I'm sure it's about a 5 or 6 millimeter raised edge around where the clasp folds in. And it's just way too high. You're just going to catch it constantly. You are absolutely going to catch that clasp, everything on the desk. If you work in an office and you're using a mouse a lot, you're just going to drag that clasp across the desk. It's actually quite uncomfortable, I found. So the bracelet's another deal breaker for me. I actually think, to a degree, I think it's a little bit lazy of Omega to have put that bracelet on that watch. Especially when they want $16,500 for it, guys. And I wouldn't have minded so much if they'd have given you a complimentary NATO strap with it, but they haven't done that either. They've just basically said, here's a cheap and cheerful stainless steel Milanese bracelet to go with your $16,500 watch head with a hologram on the back. So no thanks. So price and bracelet were the two reasons that I didn't buy that watch. The irony is, probably when that watch was first released, I might have bought it because I was kind of sold on the hype. But as Omega seem to have this knack at the moment of announcing a really good watch and then not actually releasing it out in any great numbers for about a year, and by then we've all moved on, haven't we? You know, us watch nerds, you know, that buy into the hype machine, we've all moved on to other watches that we can get now. And it's the same situation, by the way, just as a slight diversion. It's the same situation for me with the white dialed Omega Speedmaster. I put my name down for that when it was first released, and I was actually told that would be available in Q2 of this year. You know, we're now really into Q3, and they're telling me they haven't seen one. So my interest in that watch has waned as well, especially as there has been a price increase since it was announced. Anyway, so there's three things I don't like about Omega, but I'm going to tell you something that I've seen just this week. Something I've seen just this week, and a lot of you guys that are on social media and you know, see things on Instagram and YouTube like I do, you've probably seen that Daniel Craig has been photographed wearing I'll put a picture or two up here. Daniel Craig is looking very swanky, I think. Actually, he's grown his hair and a bit of a beard, and I think he's looking. It's taken. If I grew my hair long and grew a bit of a beard, it would put 10 years on me. But with Daniel Craig, I think it's taken 10 years off him. I mean, tell me if you disagree, guys, but I think he was starting to look like a very old British spy by the time he was doing the photo shoots for No Time to Die. But he's looking pretty good right now, I think. Anyway, I digress. So Daniel Craig was photographed wearing this black-faced, what appears to be Omega Seamaster, and it appears to be of the same style as the 60th anniversary, but it's black. Now there's one or two things that are interesting about that. One is that it's not got a date wheel, so it's a no date Omega Seamaster. Well, fine. Excuse the light airplane in the background. Fine. It's not the first time that Omega would have released a Seamaster that doesn't have a date wheel. There's something else I've noticed about it, other than the fact it's got that terrible Milanese bracelet on it. So I'm not interested in that watch in that configuration, I'll just be honest with you. But the other thing I've noticed is I've got a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like it might be a slightly smaller case size. I'm just picking that up on a couple of the photographs, and again I'll put them up here. The watch does appear to maybe be slightly smaller than the 42mm, because the current Seamasters are 42mm. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, and it might just be an illusion and a bit of a kind of a trick of the lens. That watch, if that watch was slightly smaller, then that would be quite radical. I think that would be quite sensational if Omega have actually deliberately reduced the case size, because I think it needs it for the next iteration. And if they've combined that with shaving a little bit off of the thickness of the watch, I'd be even more excited. So I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing, and we'll find out over the next few weeks, what that watch actually is. You know, Omega have done a really good job of utilising Daniel Craig and just, you know, those kind of ad hoc, you know, oh, you know, this is just a watch I just chucked on this morning kind of photographs. You know, they really subtle way of marketing a new watch that's coming out. So let's see over the next few weeks what that watch turns out to be. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? And I've asked Omega to do this, you know, because they really value my opinion, as you can imagine. I've asked, I'm being sarcastic, I'm being ironic, I don't mean it literally, please. I've asked Omega to reduce the size, to reduce the thickness, and I've asked them to do that black watch that Daniel Craig is wearing, but with sword hands, the same sword hands that appear on this particular model. Here, those sword hands are something else, guys. They really are. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Just a quick kind of couple of stories for you on the life of the Omega. The guy that wishes Omega would release a Seamaster, but not the one they keep releasing, which is 16.5 grand with a crap bracelet. I'd really like to see what this new black Seamaster is that Daniel Craig's got on his wrist, though. We'll find out in the course of time, guys, as we always do. Thanks for watching the video, thanks for hanging on until the end, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Cheers.